esa niña no se aguanta. Ey, quiere todo porque sabe a Fanta. Ey. We're gonna start today's podcast with a drink because I think we need it. Because I think we got some topics that are gonna be. Oh, you just took a shot, huh?
That's cool.
Hey,
It's Hennessy. It doesn't count.
It doesn't count. It's Hennessy. It doesn't count. It's the craziest thing ever.
Yeah, we're talking about some big things tonight.
I'm drinking tequila.
I'm drinking Hennessy.
It went up my nose. I can't tell if tequila went up my nose or tahini went up my nose, but something. Not anything else went up my nose.
Did you hear about the woman? I think she was like a lunch lady, and she like some kid cussed her out, and she paid 2 other 4th graders to beat him up. She got
Shut up. Pull that up.
To 5 days in jail, please, because her mugshot is hilarious. Like she's looking like, yeah, and I do it again.
I mean, I feel like that's always been a joke. Like people always make that type of joke of like, I will fight a little kid. But it's like, and you know, sometimes we do feel like kids deserve it. But I mean, you gotta know.
But at least they were in the same, you know, I mean, it's better than an adult. At least they got handled by someone in their own age bracket.
Yeah, but I feel like also it's like if you are going to do that, not that I condone that, but pay one, like a fair one.
What if they were...
You just paid 2 to jump him?
What if he was the biggest kid in his grade? She needed to make sure he was getting handled.
I'm dead. And she went to jail?
I think it was like 5 days. But her mugshot is like, whoops. She did not.
I mean, what did the kid do?
At all.
I
Cussed her out. She was a lunch lady.
I mean...
These kids are bad. Like, I can see when a lot of these teachers get pushed to their...
edge.
Yeah.
All their friends are dead. No, yeah. I mean, I agree because the other day, on that Justin page, whatever, like they posted, like, have you ever made a teacher cry? And like people were like, oh, people are so fucked up, they're teachers or whatever. And I really thought about like when we made a teacher cry, and it wasn't like, it's not like we were like being fucked up. It was a substitute teacher and it was banned, and he kept telling us to stop, and we just kept playing, and then like he would tell us to stop, and then we would kind of stop, but then we would start playing again. So then he just got so frustrated he cried, and he was kind of an asshole. Like he was one of those guys that like isn't necessarily all the way an asshole, but he's just kind of like too like, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, I remember thinking like when it happened, like we took it too far. Like I was like, oh man. Me and my saxophone had a lot to think about, you know, on the walk home. But yeah, have you guys ever made anybody or seen it happen in your class?
I had one class where, shout out to Mr. Schroeder, Crawford High School. They made him cry. It wasn't me, but it was actually one of my friends, like who I used to hang out with at the time, and he had like a disability with his ears were a little bit malformed, and so was his nose. I always thought he had like frostbite or something, but she said he was saying something about earmuffs or headphones or something.
Oh, but that's mean. That's
it was mean as hell. And she was in class, and she said it like to him. She was like, do you have to get them specially made because of your ears or whatever? Like totally inappropriate, you know, and something that honestly you should learn as a child. Like, you know, when you're a little child, your parents kind of tell you.
He should have paid 2 kids to jump her.
Literally. Yeah. But she's a better woman now. I still am friends with her on Facebook. It was definitely
I thought you were like friends. I'm like, next time I go to your house, she's going to hear what I said. And she's going to beat me up.
Jump who?
Jump who, bitch? I'm like, Like, I don't know.
But yeah, no, it's just
earmuffs.
like a totally immature thing that happens. Yeah. Oh, see, she was only 18, so she's immature as well.
Oh, but she's 18.
That's a very 18 decision.
She paid $1. Yo, talk about cheap labor. God damn. $1. School lunchroom aide 18 paid 2 4th graders $1 to beat up their classmate who swore at her. Spoken like a true person that can't even get in the fucking club yet. Like, girl.
Was it $1 total or $1 each?
Per.
You know what's crazy? We were talking about yesterday or the day before. I was like, you can't even buy anything with $1 anymore. But here it is. That's what you can buy with $1. In 2024, you can pay 2 4th graders too.
Did they at least do a good job? I mean, damn, that's fucked up. Sorry. Did they get the job done? Did she pay them?
When she gets out of jail, bring her on the pod.
Imagine she didn't want to.
Pregnant. Because look, what she allegedly wanted to pay students to beat up the victims in retaliation for calling her pregnant. B word.
But I wonder if they were just
But she
calling
was
her
a pregnant
fat.
bitch.
But what if they were just calling her fat?
No, they called her a pregnant bitch.
But what if that's
Oh.
what triggered her? Because she was just fat and they kept calling her pregnant. And she's like, you know what? Call me pregnant one motherfucking more time. You gonna see what these $2 can do.
Where's your mugshot though?
Yep. That's her. She's like, and did. That's exactly what the face says. She's
dead.
smiling. She got a smile on. There is no regret in that face.
Right.
She's like, and I do it again.
She thinks that shit is funny.
Oh
Aw.
my God.
It's hard to hate her. Like with that look on her face.
Yep.
She doesn't look like she doesn't have this like negative aura or face. She's just like, bitch.
Yeah. She's like, they deserved it, you know? And
But-
but it says she's 19 there, 18 in the other article. So who knows? You know?
The victim said pushed and bumped and thrown. I mean, 2 9-year-old boys, a girl age 10, said they were each paid. Oh, now it's 3 kids. Goddamn. They were each paid $1.
Well, he says the students involved 2 9-year-old boys and a girl age 10 said they were each paid $1. And so I want to know, was it a boy or a girl who these 3 5th graders or 4th graders were fighting? But I'm sure they won't release
The victim
victims
said he
until-
was pushed. It was a boy.
Dang, so that girl is a G, dude. Bring her on the podcast.
The girl's like, yeah, I took that $1.
Yep. And
And
I
I'll
bought some
do-
chips with it. And I'll do it again.
Damn. Is she fired?
Yeah.
Where do you go from there if you get fired for hiring children to beat up other children? Like, I don't think you're going to work around kids again.
Maybe she'll become like, what is that dude? The famous fight promoter whose hair is like,
Don King?
yeah.
I'm dead.
She's the next Don King. Her hair was low key. I mean, look, it's
I mean,
starting.
It was starting.
It's starting.
It's got a little static going.
Got a little some.
The moment she paid them, her hair started lifting.
Every fight she sets up, she's just gonna slowly transform.
I'm dead. Okay, I want to know AI. Can somebody explain this to me? Because I see people doing cool stuff with it. Even though the other podcast I was just all like, I hate AI. It's going to ruin things. But like, can't you tell it shit like me on a beach with a velociraptor? And it like just, that's tight.
Yeah.
Can you make music videos like that?
I don't know.
I mean, I feel like
Probably.
I'm trying to make my career easier.
you would still have to do a lot of editing because AI is just not that good right now.
not that good, right?
Yeah.
Me and a Missy Elliott style video.
I mean,
It's like,
I could
dun,
try.
dun, dun.
Oh, a picture.
Oh, you're going to do
Yeah.
it right now? Hold on. That's tricky.
Oh,
Do us AI right
It's
now.
not gonna be a real. It's not gonna be. Oh, well, I guess I could take a picture.
And put us on a beach.
Okay, I could try. Hold up. Okay.
Did you hear that and this is one thing about Spanish. Both of our, that's such a millennial thing. We're like, and then we immediately stop.
Like, well, the
they were
best thing
saying-
about Spanish.
Oh no, the fucked up thing is that, like I was saying, in English, I feel like in English people are outraged so much easier and more about things. For example, queer baiting or, just different things. For example, now with the AI thing or whatever, they did one in English and they did one in Spanish as a thing for a brand for like NASCAR or whatever the fuck they did, drivers. And in Spanish, like, it got received well. And in English, everyone's like, you're taking the job from a real woman. Like, you need to hire a real woman, blah, blah, blah. And they had so much backlash that they backed up on it. But in Spanish, that shit's still alive and kicking. It's still going, which to me is like, what is it about Spanish speakers that don't understand a concept like queer baiting? Like, why is that not even
On the radar.
Yeah, and like certain things like racial stuff. You know what I mean? What is it about Spanish people? Jamie? No, I'm just kidding. You're like,
my
this is-
analysis, no, per my research. No, I don't know. It's crazy because it's like, even growing up in New York, like a lot of Puerto Rican people who are definitely not Afro-Latino are just, I don't know. And they'll argue you up and down that it's part of their culture. I mean, look at the freaking Bay Area Asians.
Yeah, everybody in the Bay, to be honest.
Yeah.
Even, you know what I mean? Like, even,
Yeah.
even family of mine and stuff. And it's like, you have that conversation and you're just like, bruh, like, but then sometimes you're just like, oh my God, like, I don't even fucking talk. I talk to you once every 6 years. Like, I don't even want to talk to you anymore. But it's like, but even with stuff like anything else, like, I just feel in our community, and maybe this will be a conversation that I'll also bring up with other Latino creators, but I'm just like, the rules aren't the same in English and in Spanish, but it is stuff that actually affects. It's stuff that it's like, dude, do you get it? Do you know? Like, do you understand why this affects? Yeah. They're like, no, we want to know the chisme. That's what we want to know. It's
yeah.
Like,
Which, and that's the thing that kind of sucks is like, especially for the people, I would imagine even more impactful for people who are in both communities, like the fact that so many people don't take it seriously, or they're only like selective outrage. You know what I mean? It's like they don't really care about the day-to-day effects.
Yeah.
But they want to be outraged because they just really don't like that person, and we're just waiting for a reason to, say something. But
and that's a real thing too. Sometimes people just not liking people, and then that's who they choose to really go in on. But other people do worse shit, and they don't fucking care. I mean, selective outrage definitely is a bitch. But yeah, I don't know. That just was, to me, weird because of the AI thing, because they're going to start. Basically, this company invented an AI person to be their whatever, not mascot. What is that shit called? Their spokesperson. So they made this whole identity, and they were planning on this being an influencer, so that kind of basically to like erase influencers. They're like, if we can create our own influencers, then we don't need to pay influencers, and we just made our own. But yeah, people were outraged in English. It got shut down in Spanish, alive and kicking. We'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I think it's also just one of those things where it's, I think it also has to do with like how you're introduced to the technology. I feel like, we very much had a very rocky introduction to like, like for a lot of people, the first time that they really, started hearing about AI was during like the SAG-AFTRA strikes and all these things, and we're in a poor economy. A lot of people are having like a really tough job market, so maybe it might have something more to do with that, where it's like if you're the first thing you hear about AI is how it's taking people's jobs, you're like, dude, now this is when you want to, so maybe it could be something with that. I don't know.
No, well, for me at least, the first time I heard about it has been productive things. We've actually used it for music. Like whenever we can't get a beat, we just use AI to take the beat out, to take the vocals out, to do different things. I understand that it can be used for good, but it's kind of like with everything, you kind of have to have limits. You kind of have to have, rules. You have to have some sort of moral code, which I'm sure will segue into one of these things of morality. But like, I don't know what the fuck, like what is too much? You know what I mean? At what point do we lose the beauty that is being a human? And at what point, it's kind of like, when we get too used to things doing things for us, and we just kind of start, what is that shit called if you don't use your arm and it goes away?
Oh, you lose
Atrophy.
your muscle.
Atrophy. Yeah. Like at what time is that going to be what happens to us? Like, if we can use robots for everything, or if we can use AI for everything, like we're not developing our fucking skills for certain shit.
Yeah. I mean, but even if you think about it now, like, America, as much as we spend as Americans, like 3 times the next leading country on defense of the country. But if you really look at it, if the internet were to go down for more than 3-4 days, we would literally like dissolve because people couldn't access their money. Like, look at what's happening right now with the Teslas in Chicago where it's cold. Like, just having those couple things offline, like how, especially with California here, right? Don't they have the mandate by like in the next 10 years, it can only be electric cars or something like that?
Yeah.
Like if they were to take down the internet and everyone has an electric car and you can't use your debit card or your credit card that's signed up to pay to charge your car, like what are people really going to do? Like it just, our reliance on only being interconnected through the web is like, it's kind of a detriment, because if our grid goes down, like,
Yeah.
we don't have that infrastructure to still communicate with each other in any other way.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Send a fax? Like, you can't even, everyone has e-fax. You can't even send a fax anymore. Like, what are you really going to do?
Barter my fruit trees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to get goods. You got to have goods.
Yeah.
You got to have bullets. You got to have weapons. You got to have trees. You got to have
Or just be
things that are valuable, because if anything ever fucking goes down and you need a barter, it'll be like, well, check this shit out. I got chickens. I got eggs. What do you got? Oh, you got meat. Bet. What we doing?
Yeah.
You know? Because otherwise, I'm like, I don't know what your fake money is gonna do for me. I don't know what your great credit score is gonna do for me. Like, please let me in. I have great credit. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean to me right now?
Yeah.
I need to know if you have chickens or not.
Exactly. And that really is what I mean, we've already seen it in semi our lifetimes with like what happened with the Soviet Union collapse. As we all know, we all know what happened.
We all are very educated. Yeah, go ahead. But go ahead and refresh my memory.
Just for the other people who don't know.
Just for the people who don't know. Go ahead and let us know what happened.
But yeah, when the Soviet Union collapsed, their money basically essentially became worth nothing. So you could be the richest person ever, but you can't buy anything because the money means nothing. And like, even to this day, I used to work with people, like our office had an offshoot office in Romania, and because it's a landlocked country, there's only a certain amount of food at all times, right? So you could have $1,000, but you cannot go into the store and buy something. The government issues food coupons, and that's how you get food. That's so, like, our company, when it was like Christmas bonus time, they would give them extra food coupons, because that's the only way you can get food. It doesn't matter how much cash you have. If you don't have the government's permission to buy food, you can't do it.
What? So is there any fat people over there?
I mean, I don't know. I've never been. I mean, shout out to y'all. Shout out to Vlad. What's my Romanian coworker's name?
Oh, I thought Vlad TV.
No. I don't know. Maybe they're related. I don't know.
I'm dead. That's crazy. Yeah. Now I want to know. Is there like,
there's a
overweight people, underweight people? Like, what's the deal with the food?
I'm going to have to.
Is there Mexican food? Or they
I
just
don't know.
have, like,
well, I mean, it's landlocked, so it's whatever can get imported. Wow. And then there's actually a really interesting documentary. I'll have to find the name. I'll post it on my Insta or give it to y'all for the caption of this whenever it gets posted. But it used to be on Netflix, but it was about these kids who were living in Romania right after the USSR collapsed, and all of them were like addicted to huffing paint because they were so hungry. That was like the only thing that could satiate them, and everything collapsed. So all the kids who were in foster care, all of the people who were like mentally ill, who were in mental health hospitals, things like that, anything that was run by the government ended. And that was just it. So all of these kids lived in the subway there, and the whole documentary is about how these kids like tried to navigate living their own life with no infrastructure, no money, no food, no nothing. It was a really interesting documentary.
Yeah. It's always sad when it's like the kids, right? Because I told you, I would watch that Kids of OC that lived in motels and stuff. And I just like, I even went on TikTok and I was like trying to find information on them, because I was just like, what happened? Like, poor kids, like they were just, I don't know. You kind of like hope for the best. Dude, did you see that the kids from that,
Sorry.
God, I know you're having a blast with the AI thing, because you're laughing, she's laughing. Let's just see it.
Oh, sorry.
I'm
a
fucking
man.
dead.
Wait,
I'm the
white?
man, bitch. I'm in the
white?
NASA shirt.
Yeah, that I tried to fix it, but
Bro, we look like a lesbian couple.
I'm fucking white.
And Vincenzo's back.
Well, because the problem was, at first I said like take a picture or like generate an image of these two people, whatever, on a beach, and then it said it can't because of like people's privacy, whatever. So, but it could generate an image based on people's description. So I said, okay, well, describe these people in this picture, and then I said, okay, now based off of those descriptions, put them on a beach.
Oh, white.
I guess they didn't describe your color.
Oh,
But the fact I'm tanner than you is funny.
Yeah.
That should finish our argument. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
A white actual man. Oh, I'm disgusted.
That's not a man. That's still a girl.
That could be a girl.
That's a girl. That's not a man.
I don't see a girl. Look at that chiseled chin.
That's a girl. This
It's
bitch
a man,
was
Damon.
just saying yesterday she don't got a chin. Look at you with the chiseled chin, and you don't like that shit
now
either.
I'm mad. Where's my double chin, AI?
Yeah, and then I said,
First of all, you have wrist tats.
I know. Well, it's on the wrong side, but.
well, I said, make the person on the left appear to be half black and half white, because that's what you are.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what?
I'm dead.
It made you half black and half
You look
white,
like
literally.
JT. I look
I'm
like
JT.
No, I have the pink sweater on.
Bro, we look like two versions of JT.
A girl like, I'm JT. No, I'm JT.
We look like JT's duality.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and then I
Lord.
said, no, go back to the original picture and make that person a couple shades darker.
At least I'm clearly a girl in that one. And I like that you have sunscreen on.
Yo, I'd be getting all the bitches. That's crazy. I'm the most douchebag lesbian you've ever seen in your fucking life.
Oh my gosh.
That's top tier white lesbian right there. That's like, bro, all the bitches.
Yeah, that's wild.
Wow.
Thank you, AI. Appreciate
Thank you, AI, for doing that to us.
Appreciate it.
Wow.
Appreciate it.
So are we safe? Is the world safe from AI?
We
So
better be
far.
careful because it's so powerful. Look at how many things it did right there. Ruin our self-esteem, make us question ourselves, have
Make us transracial. No, thank you. Appreciate the effort. Go back to the drawing board.
AI. Okay, so AI doesn't know what it's doing. We got a few more years before the end of the world.
Yep. A little bit more before it takes over.
AI's like, I'm gonna make a weapon, and it like makes a paper fucking sword.
Yeah.
You're like, great. What the fuck?
Yeah, but I think that also just has to do a lot with input, right? Like the fact that default for people is white. You know, like they were saying that too. Like, but they were saying also like, especially when it comes with specific prompts, where if you put in like, I think they said like autistic child or something like that, and then they just kept generating like a white boy, a white boy, a white boy, and they just did it like I guess 100 times or whatever, and they said only like 3 of the times was it a woman, and all of them were white. So it like, I don't know, it's like any computer, it's only as good as what gets put into it.
Hey, the Pixar one got it right. Look.
Us being nervous as what we're perceived like.
Hey.
Oh, why does my shit say pizza?
Pizza. You're thinking about pizza, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh my god.
I mean, it's better. Yeah, but I mean,
Why am I white? Now that's my complaint.
you're like,
Why don't I have a Mexican flag on?
don't drag us.
Let me get some tequila. Both of us just start drinking after looking at ourselves. We're like,
I
oh
know,
my
we're all
god.
talk about an existential crisis. You have to think about yourself as a white man for the rest of your life.
Doesn't it say right there? Why don't you read your question? I'm just gonna keep the tequila on this side.
Yeah. So what we're going to kind of talk about today was about existentialness. For those who don't know, I'll read the definition of an existential crisis. Are inner conflicts characterized by the impression that life lacks meaning or by confusion about one's personal identity. When you're kind of thinking about things existentially, it's kind of thinking about things bigger than you and how you fit in, where the, like, you know, what is actually like the meaning of life. Like, where is your one little small part? And that's why it can cause a crisis, because you can start to feel so overwhelmed and like things are out of your control, and you can kind of spiral in that thinking.
But I feel like I'm constantly living in an existential crisis. Like I feel like my whole life has been, and I'm not just saying like, oh, as I get older, like no, since I can remember, since I was 14 and I think I've talked about that on the podcast before. Waking up at like 3 a.m, crying, just being like, what the fuck is the point? Why am I here? What, like, I need to matter? Like, I'm just gonna work and die. Like, I remember just calling my mom or calling my dad or figuring, you know, trying to, and I told you that one time, my mom's boyfriend at the time had her like actually go and pick me up and like try to have a talk with me, because she never talked about it. She was just like, oh, stop worrying, like relax, like go to sleep, like whatever, you know. And this time she went and picked me up and like we actually talked, and I don't know, after that she was at least a little bit nicer about like my music and stuff. But I was just like, I always had this weird deep inside of me feeling of like, what the fuck is this? I just not fitting, this doesn't make sense to me. I need to go somewhere. Like, I've just never felt like I fit where I'm at and I need to go somewhere. I'm closer now than I've ever been. So that's weird that was just in me. That's what I've said before about like, I don't know if I've lived before or what, because like the things that I ended up doing and how I ended up getting to where I'm at was just in me. I don't fucking know from where. I can't tell you anybody put it in, like, you know, put those thoughts in my head. So it's just like, where the fuck does that come from? And am I fulfilling what the fuck it is? And that's why I've always, I know you know more like rules and like laws and like the government and whatever. I've never thought about life like that, because I feel like I don't even belong here. My mom had me here, but I don't think that the United States was necessarily where I was gonna stay. You know what I mean? Or like end up at. Now I have a kid and he fucking won't go anywhere, but like he won't go to another country. But I feel like, I don't know, that maybe it's my ancestors, maybe it's the indigenous part of me that just feels like none of this. I made money because I needed to show my mom I wasn't a failure. That's it. Did I care about it that much? Like, was I that superficial about everything? I don't really think so, because if I was, I'd be happy because I got better off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can't say that feeling is ever kind of, I don't know. Is that weird?
Yeah. No, I think,
is that weird?
No.
Yeah.
Yes, it's strange. No, but I think it is something. But I feel like it's funny because like what you were saying about like never feeling like you belonged here or like a certain ownership to the country. I feel like the exact opposite, where it's like, I don't know if it's because of, like I was saying, like earlier, growing up on the East Coast, I feel like that when they talk about immigration and stuff like that, it's such a different, or at least was in the past, a different conversation where they were more, you know, they're more thinking about like people coming over from Europe and coming through Ellis Island and all of this stuff. And they really kind of make you feel like very proud to be an American, like
of a melting pot.
Yeah, you're a melting pot.
But
like,
that's a very East Coast
a part.
thing.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's very like, so like, I obviously, everyone knows I have my criticisms of America. But I also don't feel like I could go anywhere and it would be better. Like, everywhere has its problems. Like, I'm a stick beside them, trash or not. This is my country. I'm not giving it up for nobody, you know? So it's like, you know, where you kind of feel like I don't have any ownership over this. I'm just here. Like, I'm like, that's my baby. But yeah, it's just very like, I don't know. I think that it's kind of a good point. Like, there's a difference between thinking existentially and just like kind of pondering the things in the world and having an existential crisis, because an existential crisis is when it becomes overwhelming to you, when you like feel that sense of dread more than just a sense of wonder, where you're just like, this is kind of interesting to think about. Like,
yeah. No, that's where like when I've been, you know, because obviously I've talked about suffering from depression and anxiety, and when I've gotten suicidal ever in my life, it has come from that. It has come from, it doesn't go away. The thought, the things, the everything, it just doesn't go away. Like, you might get more money, you might get more known, you might get closer to those goals that you thought would eventually make you feel, you know, fulfilled, but it just is always there. And almost the smarter you get or the more you know about like what the fuck is going on, or even just humanity. I'm really not even thinking like, oh, political. Like, I'm thinking humanity. I'm thinking like kind of like how people, I don't know how people are, just like how like everybody's like focused on shit, and like how hateful people can be. It just kind of becomes this thing where, like I said, sometimes people look down on people like us that, you know, it's like if you catch me drinking or whatever, they're like, oh my God, like you drink or whatever. And it's like, bitch, I need a break from the thinking, because the thinking is always leading me to the same thing, which is this shit doesn't seem to be getting any better, and humans sometimes end up feeling like this is so shitty and we're all on this same fucking rock. And I don't know if it's feeling like That's So Raven when she knows what's bad's gonna happen, so she ends up like making the bad shit actually happen. I feel like that's what humans are doing. It's like we know the shit, and now we're like fucking with the shit, and now we're probably making it worse, thinking we're trying to make it better, but we're making it worse. And we're just like, oh my God, like this shit is, you know. But having children, and I will say, like, I say Baby Drew saved my life, and people are like, oh, well, don't put all your emotions into a kid or whatever. And it's like, no, it's not that. It's just that it gave me a purpose. Having Baby Drew gave me a purpose, and my brother, obviously, and my family, like being the person that, like, a lot of this is like the responsibilities on me has been able to ground me and give me a purpose. And when I am spinning, or like when I could just kind of like be like, what the fuck is all this? It just kind of like reminds me, like, okay, all these people, you know, are relying on me. But that sometimes can end up feeling, this is going to get really dark, but that sometimes can end up feeling like now you're imprisoned here. Like now you can't, you have to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like, now you just have all these thoughts, but you're like, well, can't do anything about it. Might as well just get up and get to fucking work, drink a bunch of caffeine, and let's just, what did I just say earlier? I was like, I can't, cause I told him, I'm like, I finally had a lot of pre-workout today. And, I was like, can't be depressed if you can't think about it. He's like, or you can be depressed just a lot quicker. I'm like, and then I have ADHD, so I forget that I'm depressed. So I just got to fucking move on. I'm like, what do you do? Just.
Yeah. No, and I think when it comes to what, at least for me, like when I do start feeling a little bit of crisis with existentialism, it does kind of ground me to remember that I do not have control over these things. Like I can sit here and contemplate the universe and morality and humanity and all of these things, but at the end of the day, I only have control over myself and my impact on the people directly around me. Like no amount of me, you know, thinking of the solution to like peace in the Middle East or whatever it is actually going to do anything. The only thing that I can do, especially when it comes to having kids, is like try to make my kids as morally grounded as I possibly can, and try to make sure that I am being empathetic to the people around me, and hopefully that little bit of impact will allow the people around me to be more empathetic to the people in their own communities, and it can spread. Like that's really the only thing you have control over, is like the things that you can immediately reach out and touch. Anything else at a certain point, you can think about it all you want, but when it starts to get troubling and bring you down, you have to let it go. You just have to.
Yeah. And that, you know, it's like the each one teach one thing also just does really help. And sometimes even Ito has been like, you know, why do you care? Like, why are you arguing, or why are you talking about certain things like this? And I'm like, sometimes when I feel like I can kind of change somebody's mind as far as like something really shitty, like I'll try, because I'm like, well, fuck, like, you know what I mean? Like maybe sometimes people haven't taken the time to have the conversation. So like I'll try, but you're right. And it's the same thing as whenever people would have the Illuminati talks, or like the government's out to get us, or like we're never gonna really be rich, you know. And it's like I come from absolutely fucking nothing, no college, no parents to fucking teach me shit about what was supposed to happen after high school, like nothing. So all I really could do is like try to succeed here, no matter how much people were like, well, you're never going to be able to beat the government, or you're never going to be able to do that. I said, well, shit, the only thing I can fucking do is try one foot ahead of the other and keep walking, because other than that, I don't know what the fuck else I'm going to do.
And I might never, of course, like I'm never going to beat the government, but I can also still work as hard as I can to make my life as comfortable as I possibly can. For the limited amount of time that we're here. But that's kind of like, unfortunately, like the image didn't show up there, but I don't know, maybe Ito can insert it later.
Yeah.
But so basically it's like, well, it's here, but it says, like it's like a guy looking at a wall. It's two guys on one bus, right? One is looking at a wall and looking kind of sad and down, and it says life has no intrinsic meaning, so what's the point of living? And then it's another guy looking at the opposite side of the bus, out the window at a sunny pasture, like, Yeah, there he is.
That big-
Yeah. And the other guy is saying life has no intrinsic meaning, so the point is just living. So it really is like you can think about these big existential themes and you can really try to and land on one side or the other. Either you can get overwhelmed about it, or you can just be like, you know what, I am just this one little small piece of it, let me do the best I can. Or you can be like, I can't change any, like what you're saying, you're never going to beat the government, so why do this or why do that?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't have to. All I have to do is do the best that I can.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. And there is always those negative Nancy's, whenever you get into this whole shit, it's like, oh, well, woe is me, and life is, always out to get me, and whatever the fuck. And it's like, you get it, but it's like, at the same time, that's a little bit narcissistic to think that the entire world has conspired to be only against you. Like, everything is against you specifically. Like, all these people in the world, but you're the one. Like, no, bitch, it's not. We're not individually. We're each not that important for everybody to conspire. You just need to fucking find your way through this and make the best out of it. And trust me, because you saw me go through the trenches with this rap shit. Rappers can be the most negative. Come 2 a.m. in a rap studio of a local rapper, you got 7 to 12 dudes woe is meing how they're better than fucking everybody on the radio, and how if they only had this and they had that, but they're this and they're I feel like hanging out in those type of studios at a really young age made me look around and be like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
It made me buy my own Pro Tools and try to record my own fucking music, because I was like, I'm not hanging out with these fucking dudes. And I'm glad I heard them all fucking complain. And now those, like I said, those are the same type of dudes that'll be like, you forgot where you came from. It's like, no, I was running away from the conversations y'all bitches was having.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got the fuck out of there, because no.
Yeah, you're like, no, I remember, and it actually gave me PTSD.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are actually horrible. But yeah, no, it is very much like there are people who will, who can look at things and be like, things are bigger than myself, and embrace it in a good way. And then there are people who will look at that and just play the perpetual victim,
Yeah. And before I fucking saw this fucking, Leave the World Behind or whatever, I think I had said it before somewhere.
Can you talk about what that's about? Quick synopsis.
Oh,
yeah.
Leave the World Behind. Well, it's basically about the melting down of the United States. It's not the end of the world. Everybody was commenting how it's like, oh, it's the end of the world. And it's like, no, everybody always thinks about this whole concept of like Armageddon and the end of the world. And it's like, no, what happens if just the United States just is done?
Mm-hmm.
Like, countries, it's happened before in the empires and shit, you know what I mean? Like, more important shit has happened. We're here in the United States, a couple, like she said, a little bit of internet being out, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, all of a sudden motherfuckers, it doesn't even have to be a huge enemy, as much as like we can start looking around and using our own paranoia, our own fucking arguing, our own not being able to get on the same side as a country. We're not one band, one sound at fucking all. I feel like sometimes we're our own worst fucking enemy. And so that's what kind of it's about, not knowing those first few hours, or like, whatever, first 12 to 24 hours would be the most scariest, because you don't know, half the people are going to be waiting like, no, they're going to solve it for us. Don't worry, chill. And half the people are going to be getting into fucking paranoid mode. So it's like, you're going to have just this battle within this whole thing. Well, the dude said the scariest thing, and I've said that before, when I'm telling you, as a rapper, you just have all these Illuminati talks and everybody's like, oh, everyone's, controlling it, the man and whatever. And he said, the scariest thing is there is nobody controlling it. Nobody's controlling it. You wish there was, because then you would be able to just point and hope, and in some weird way, even though you might think they're nefarious beings and they're just out to get us, you might still think, well, they got the control, so we're fine.
You have someone else to blame.
But when you realize there might not be, then you're like, holy fuck.
Yeah, it's up to me.
It's up to you. And I think that's the reason that it's so scary. And in the same way, sometimes you can think of religion like that. Not to make anybody not be religious, but sometimes you can think that the reason that people, have religion or have something to just grab onto is because at least then you just have this one center thing that you just grab onto, hope to, pray to, meditate to, whatever the fuck you think, Same thing with government, same thing with all these things. But at the end of the day, it could all just be ideas. And at the end of the day, you're alone. You are born alone. You die alone. It's up to you. This life is a lot to handle, and you're going to feel alone, but it's because you are.
Yeah.
Your single experience is your single experience. Even for us that have children, those kids will grow up to be adults and they will have their own fucking life. And even
right now,
yeah,
as much as you as a parent can project onto your kids and want them to be like whatever,
yeah,
they're gonna do what they want. They're gonna
Yeah.
listen to the kind of music they want to listen to. They're gonna dress how they want. They're,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And
yeah, but that's more even just personality. Like I
Yeah.
feel like when they grow up, if for any reason your kid, I don't know, does, you know what I mean, just does some random off the wall left, you know, and then you have to kind of be one of the, you know, now it's like, now you have to be faced with the fact of, do I like give this person an ultimatum? Do I not? Like, is that the right approach? Do I distance in hopes that they learn? Do I get closer? Like, am I pushing them? You know what I mean? It's like all these things you have to remember. That's a person and they're gonna fucking make their own decisions. My brother eventually, you know, will get into his own shit with a wife and kids or whatever he wants to do. Everybody is alone and your journey is your journey. We love the people we love as much as we love. I'm very community. I'm like, dude, obviously I fucking have a ranch and I have everyone I love like as close as possible. I'm a very community person, but I also had to learn to be community without being clingy or without feeling, I'm with practicing detaching. Like I don't have to be so feeling like when people are, when it doesn't work out, they left me. Like they didn't leave me. We have separate paths and that's it. We're separating.
Yeah. And, you know, and also like the way that I like to think about it too is sometimes your life is not just together or apart. It's like an accordion. Like sometimes you're farther away and sometimes you're closer together. And that's one thing about building like a strong community bond is that you don't have to talk on the phone every day.
Yeah.
You don't have to see each other every day or, you know, however, you know, much it is. It's the fact that, you know that when you need someone to lean on and you need someone to be closer together with, they're going to, they can be there and they're going to be there. But, you know, when you are on that part of your journey where you need a little bit more space, you can do that too, you know?
Yeah. And that's based on how well your fundamental friendship or relationship is.
Yes.
Because a lot of times, you know, we have anxious attachment or whatever, however the fuck we're attached to each other. You know, we could have been codependent. We could be trauma bonded. There's different types of ways that you establish a friendship or relationship. When it's fundamentally built correctly, you can go days or weeks without talking, then link up, everything's cool, whatever. And whenever it's like it's really like caring about each other. When it's anything else, or it's just beneficial, or it's just transactional, or it's whatever, like the moment that you're no longer exactly on your best, it just kind of like, you know what I mean? And that's how shit fucking fractures. With me, with everybody on tour, and we've had these convos, like tour is a very, very hard thing. It's like going out on a boat and you're in this fucking world and it chews you up and then it spits you out. And then everybody's just like, when we come back from tour, dude, after 3 months of touring, we're like, all right, bye. Everybody hugs, whatever. Everybody goes to their fucking house. I go into a cocoon. I'm not texting nobody. I'm not hitting up anybody like, hey, blah, blah, blah. Hope you're doing good. How you feeling after tour? Like, nobody's doing shit. Like, we know we love each other. We care. Thank you. But you have to fucking decompress. Especially me. I feel like I don't know. But you're meeting so many fucking people, so much energy, so much that your body is like, if you believe in energy, imagine what you're going through.
Literally drained.
Meeting 200 people a night, fucking, you know, after party, a stage, all those people just looking at you, whether, you know what I mean? You touch people's hands, you feel people, you cry, people tell you their stories, who's died, who hasn't, what they've gone through. It's just so much. And then 2 hours of shows every fucking night of trying to entertain, of giving my entire self to people, you know, and hoping that those people like understand there's a connection there. And then, you know, after party, obviously, and then driving and then being with everybody. I come back, dude, I am depleted. I'm a shell of myself. I'm not even like here. And I have to hope that people understand that when I pop back out 2 weeks later and I'm like, hey, I hope that people aren't just like, no, bitch.
Like, well, what happened to you the last 2 weeks? And
right.
Like, sorry.
I'll be like,
yeah.
You know,
Breathe.
but the people that get it and understand, are completely part of my life, and I love them for it, and I it doesn't go unnoticed, and I feel like I try to make it up as much as I can, but there's just sometimes when you really have to listen to your body and be like, bitch, nah.
Not today. Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. And I think it's just also just in general, like, I don't know, I'm not a big person where I feel like, I don't know, there have been rarely people who I don't really necessarily associate with, and even if we ended on bad terms, there's no one who I really like have any ill will towards or anything. It's just like, I just know that we're not the same people that we used to be, especially when I look at people from like my high school stage of life. Like, we're just not the same people anymore. Like, I could be in a room with you and we would have nothing to talk about because we don't think about the same things. We don't consume the same media. Like me and you have talked about things bigger than us to no extent. We agree on some things, don't agree on some things. Like, and
Yeah.
there's always a conversation to be had. There are people who I would have considered like my good friends in the past that couldn't talk their way out of a paper bag. Like, it's just like, there's nothing there anymore. And I hope the best for you. And I hope that you're happy. And it look like I'll see their pictures or whatever, and they're living their own life and they seem like they're happy. But I know that we just don't have that common ground anymore. And it's fine. Yeah. People change. Like, your relationship to the people around you is not going to be consistent from when you're 0 to, 50 years old. Like, the things around you are going to change.
Yeah.
But those fundamental people will always, I feel like the universe just will bring the people who you need back to you. And even new people will bring new people in your life when you really need it.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. And it is true. You grow, you live and you learn, you fucking grow. There's even times when you do go bad with people, and then after time, you're just like, you kind of forget because you're just like, whatever. Like, it's not that big of a deal where I'm going and what the journey, like where it's taking me, as long as you just progressively keep on working on yourself and feeling better. And I know that's so cliche and it's so played out, but like, that's all we can fucking do. Sometimes all you can do is hit the fucking gym because maybe it makes you feel a little bit better. Even if you're not seeing results like physically, just like, damn, I know that I feel better if I do go as opposed to if I don't go. And that's all I got today. Like, that's it,
Yeah.
Especially for self-employed people. Sometimes you don't feel like getting your ass up and working as hard as you did yesterday. So if all you have is fucking taking a walk, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bust your ass tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, especially with going to the gym. Like, I really, like, one of the things that I enjoy about working out, and especially like, is the fact that it is something that I am doing to only benefit myself. Like, my kids are not going to lose weight because I'm at the gym, but just knowing that I am doing that self-care enough to go and do something that is only benefiting me, like, and I'm taking the time out of my day to focus on myself, it's almost like, I don't know, it's like empowering, because it's like, obviously I love and I care about my kids and they motivate me through so many things in my life, but there is something that's empowering, especially as a woman, to know that you are taking the time out of your day, not to be a caregiver, not to be in this role where you're in service to someone else, but where you are doing something for yourself and it's making you feel good. And that's enough. Like, if that's just it. And it doesn't matter if it's going to the gym or if you have another hobby like reading or sewing or knitting, whatever your hobby is, like, just being able to take that little bit of time to do something with you centered is important.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I never realized how important that was until I did. And then when I did, you kind of can't go back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like people would always be like, take a break, listen to your body, focus on you, take some self-care, whatever. And it's like, I'd always be like, yeah. Like, I'm fine. And then eventually when you finally do start to get that alone time and you finally do get to have time for your thoughts and to just fucking do nothing. Sometimes, like, I've caught myself like in my room, like when I'm alone, and I'm like, I go to my room and then I'll like walk towards one corner and then I'll like look around and then I'll walk to another corner and then I'll go to the bathroom and And then I'll be like, I should wash my face. I should put on a face mask. I should take a bath. Like, just different things. And it's like, if I don't have that time to just be fucking weird and like walk around like a weirdo, what the fuck? Like, when do I do that shit? You know what I mean? When do I think of like, I should smoke and take a bath? Like, I'm not going to. If I stay busy, I'm just going to keep on being busy forever. It's kind of like with massages. Not until I get a massage do I go, I should do this more often.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like, when I don't, I'm like stressed out, angry for no reason.
Yeah. Finding time in your schedule to do something that is just for you is so like empowering. Whatever that something is, it really does just, I don't know, it kind of gives you, at least for me, like it kind of recharges my batteries to be like, yeah, I'm taken care of, and I can go back into the caretaker role or whatever other role I need to go into.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, and I don't, well, it was funny the other day, me and Ito were talking about football, which woo.
Yeah.
But we were talking about, what were we were trying, and speaking of back to AI, we were trying to use what was it? Chat GPT to figure out how they arranged the football schedule when there was only 31 teams, because it wasn't like an even number before Texas had a team. And we were like trying to figure it out with that. And then I was like, I'm just going to Google it. I'll see. And I ended up finding a Reddit post that was like 7 years before, where someone was asking like the exact same thing that we were wondering. And I was just like, I don't know, like it's little things like that where it's like, it will be an existential thought, but it won't be an existential crisis, because I didn't feel any like trepidation about it. But I was just like, this is crazy. Like 7 years ago, there was probably some person having the exact same conversation that we're having right now. Like, how the hell did they make a schedule with 31 teams instead of 32? Posted it on Reddit, and then people answered their question. And then like now, 7 years later, we're in the same thought pattern, going to Google and using that as a resource to answer the same question that they were answering 7 years ago. Like,
like 7 years ago, people had the same question that we have,
and probably did the same thing. Went on Reddit and was like literally word for word, bar for bar, what I typed into Google was exactly the question that they answered on Reddit.
I'm dead.
So it was like, I don't know, it's just weird. And then they were also saying, okay, now with the football, not the football, what is it called? The one, what is it? The football game.
Oh,
Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl, yeah.
She really don't watch sports. The football, the game,
the big
one
one,
game.
the fancy one. The two teams that are playing in the Super Bowl this year are the same ones that were playing during the 2000 election, and they were saying like one of the most anticipated movies that year is the same, like the sequel of that is coming out this year. So it's like history is almost kind of repeating itself. You know how they say like history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Like it's like everything is so close to exactly as it was in 2000. No, but it's just a little different.
What's scary about this matchup is that it's the same teams that were playing each other when COVID happened.
Oh,
well, yeah, the 20. Yeah, right.
2020. Yeah, 2020.
Yeah. Oh, you said 2000.
Sorry, yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
I'm living in the past.
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah. So it's and then it's the same thing, because it's like, chances are, right, it's going to be Biden and Trump, and then that year, what was it? I don't know. Wait, who was it Biden?
Who? In 2020?
2020? Who ran? No, it was Hillary. Right?
Clinton.
And Trump. So it's like the same people running for president.
Oh, wait, no. It was Biden, because that's when he...
Oh, yeah, Biden and Trump,
won.
yeah.
It was 2016 when
it was Hillary, yeah. So it's Biden and Trump. Then it's the same teams and the same movies are coming out.
I don't know.
So
all I know is that this next wave of whatever COVID shit better not start with no weird shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I see. Well, you know how you were getting sick and you were kind of saying that like whatever they're putting, you know, whatever. Like I seen posts about it, kind of in a conspiracy way that like, oh, they released some other kind of thing, and I'm kind of like, people were mad about that, but they were also mad about COVID because they were making a big deal out of it. But if they're making no deal out of it,
Right.
people are making conspiracies too. It's like, dang, like
That's what I was feeling when COVID happened. I remember that everybody was so mad about the vaccine, and they're like, "Oh, the vaccine, blah blah blah, they're free." I'm like, they should have just charged money for the vaccine, because then they'll be like, "Oh, the rich people, only the people who have money get to have this cure, and we all are left out." So it's like, just fucking charge for it then. I don't know how to get people to give a fuck about this, but I know that we fucked it up. I don't know where we fucked it up, but we fucked it up, because why is it still here this much later?
Forget it.
What?
Honestly, I think that there was one surefire way in the very beginning of the pandemic that would have changed the entire outcome of how everything was handled. And I think, at least especially in Nevada, we had it was bad, y'all. There was people out there with the mass protests every week on the strip. People was trying to be outside. There wasn't no one trying to be inside. And kind of the main gripe, or I shouldn't even say a gripe, the main concern, because it's a very valid concern that I heard from people who didn't want to do the lockdowns and didn't want to do the masking and stuff like that, was we need to work, because who's paying our bills? Who's paying our rent? Who's going to pay this stuff? We need to get back out there and work. These businesses need to open. This needs to happen. I think instead of doing the PPP loans, what they should, if I was president,
okay, Wycliffe John,
right? But I think what they should have done was expand Section 8. We already have the infrastructure there. They should have just expanded Section 8 to everyone. Then no one would have had to worry about being kicked out and homeless. And then people would have not had to be out here, literally going into the streets, fighting and protesting to work, because they would have known that your number one basic need on the hierarchy of humanness, shelter, was taken care of, right? But this is why I don't think they did that. That's because if they did that, then people would be much less likely to ever see a cut to Section 8, because once someone, it's statistically known that once you benefit from a social program, you're less likely to vote and agree to defund it, right? So if everyone in America was benefiting from Section 8, even if it's just for a short period of time, it's less likely for people to vote to cut that. That's why Social Security, most people have either benefited for it or their parents are on it. It's a very, very unpopular social program to cut. Whereas things like food stamps, people who have never had to use it, they're like, cut it. They don't care, because they don't understand its impact. So I think if everyone got to
know anyone
see
who's benefited of Social Security.
Ooh. Don't you have to be old for that?
Yeah. But most people's parents or grandparents will receive a Social Security check. And that's
not mine.
That's my other conspiracy theory about why they will never fix the immigration system, because Social Security would collapse if there were not
immigrants paying into it.
That's the whole thing of DACA. It's forcing people to pay into these social systems, and they cannot ever take from it. So that's why they'll never revamp the current immigration system, because if they do, our tax system will collapse. The only way that they can revamp immigration is if they do it hand in hand with the tax code. And because of the corporate interest, no one will ever be elected who will actually stand 10 toes down on revamping the tax code in a way that will fairly tax corporations.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's my conspiracy theory.
There you go. And that's why it's
that's my cause of existential dread. I'm like, we're never gonna fix it.
We're never gonna fix
this, because the people in power benefit too much from the current system.
Yeah. And then you get into this whole, within our own communities, with, especially with Latinos, for me at least. And you hear all these fucking people, and the way that they talk about immigrants and the way that they talk about immigration are like, well, my family did it the right way. You know what I mean? It's like so many people, and you're like, you don't, everybody that comes into this country is in completely different situations. And it's just sad, because what it turns into, especially on social media, is the most ignorant fucking things being spewed, both about just directly about our own community, then also racial things between everybody. Mm-hmm. And then it's just it's all people that are under the, you know, poverty line, just fucking saying the worst fucking shit. Nobody's actually giving a fuck or pushing towards anything that can actually make any fucking change. So it just keeps on just making this shitty shit. And look at the 8 people that were helping street vendors, Alex Enamorado and all of them, the Justice 8.
Locked up.
They're locked up. No bail, no bond, no nothing. He's facing 25 years in deportation or some shit like that. And it's just like, a lot of the people, like, it's really sad that a lot of the hate that I see is from some very, you know, Latinos for Trump type people, type dudes that are just like, oh, well, ever since he's locked up, there's no more street vendors being, you know, whatever, hurt. And it's like, yes, they are. There's just nobody to report on it because he was the one that was reporting.
Enough platform to.
Yeah, they were the ones that were filming the stuff and showing like, yo, this person, or trying to hold them accountable. And the fact that they got put into jail and, you know, are being targeted, and anyone who's helping them is being targeted, is scary for everybody, which is why, you know, if you do give money or whatever, a lot of people have chosen to just stay quiet and give money because, like, bro, I don't really know how I can, you know what I mean? Like, that's some serious shit. And it's fucked up because it is a real way that we're watching it in real time. People be silenced, people not be able to help people who really need the help, and just the racist people and the people who are supposed to face the consequences just using their power, using the blue line, and fucking shutting people the fuck up. And the people that are supposed to be backing them up and speaking about it are like, oh, well, you know, he was, you know, blah, blah, and just saying the weirdest shit. And I'm just like, dude, this is why in the Latino community we don't really have, or in, you know, the undocumented community and Spanish speaking, we don't really have those go-to fucking voices, because the moment somebody comes out and tries to be that fucking person, everyone's gonna be like, well, they did this and they did that and they did that and this is why they shouldn't and this is why, and cheese man, gossip and whatever. And it's just like, bro, who the fuck is gonna help us? Like, who's gonna help us? Who's gonna help our grandparents? Who's gonna help our, you know, I mean, and by the way, when I say this, when I say our, my parents are back in Mexico. So my parents did get legal, are back in Mexico. I have my grandparents aren't here. Like, a lot of my family has just gone back to Mexico. So really, when I have this passionate, like, feeling for, like, undocumented people, it's just based on how I was raised and how I grew up. But
yeah, and also just based on empathy.
Yeah, like, empathy. But it's like people sometimes think that you have to have your own personal gain or whatever. And it's like, bro, this goes to show you, when you give a fuck, you just fucking give a fuck. Because I don't even know.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? Like, I'm stressed out and I'm angry and I'm crying over some shit that I'm like, it's your fucking family that I'm trying to help. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but it's really sad. And I don't know.
No,
I don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah. I 100% agree, and I think that there is something that this scarcity mindset that certain people have, where they're like, oh, well, you know, if we just let immigrants in, then we're not going to have anything. And it's like, that's not how this country has ever worked historically, and that's really not how this world works. Like, there is not a finite set of resources that, you know, if you let one more person on, then it's not Jack and Rose. There's not one door that they both have to share to float away from the Titanic. Like, there is enough for everyone, as long as people are not being ruled by greed. And I do think that there is a certain thing inside of us as humans that will kind of make you want to hoard resources. And that's where, like, a good and actual functioning government should step in and make sure that no one is truly able to do that when it comes to the detriment of the people around them.
Yeah. Who knows? How are we going to change the world? Yeah. One fucking
person at a time.
Yeah.
But that kind of brings me to one of the questions that don't really have an answer. Do you believe that people are inherently good, or do you think morality is a result of socialization? Like, do you think people who can look at someone and just be like, they shouldn't be here, they shouldn't belong here? Do you think that's just them parroting the people around them, or do you think it's something inside of them? And do you think people who are good natured, do you think it's just because they were raised around people who were also good natured, or?
I don't know. I would think it's like a mix of both a little bit, like
I mean,
nurture and what is that shit? Environment and
Nurture.
what
whatever
do you
the
mean
fuck.
by socialization, though?
Just like the way, like the
That she's a socialist. No,
No.
I'm just joking.
no, just the way like that humans are socialized. So like, if you're, raised to believe that like, and you'll one
Oh,
of
so you
the
don't mean like are they inherently good? Like if they weren't social, like basically it reminds me of Caveman. Like, have you seen the Croods movie?
yeah.
How the dad is just like thinks everything else is bad and like, like is basically scared and isn't. I guess he wouldn't be good to other people because he doesn't know them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like because he's not social.
Yeah.
That's what it made me think. It was like,
Yeah, no, but I mean, socialize is just kind of like the community standards of what, like one way that we're socialized is like that most people are going to believe that like incest is wrong, bestiality is wrong. Like there are certain things that just based on the socialization of how, the community that you're raised in, you're socialized. Like we're socialized to wear clothes. Technically, we could all be out here butt naked, but because of the way that we're socialized, we know that it's inappropriate to be walking around in the nude. You have to get dressed. You have to wear clothes. That's like an
I think it's a
example
mixture
of
of both.
socialization.
I think it has to be a mixture of both. Because, for example, we're all taught bestiality is wrong, incest is wrong, all those fucking things are wrong. And the majority of us are like, yeah, like, I mean, I agree with that. That's pretty fucking wrong. But then there's a few fucking weirdos that don't agree with that. And they usually have, like, other shit that they also do that's shitty. Like,
Yeah.
so I just think, the people that do good without, there's even, we've had this conversation. There's even atheists that are still good people. They just don't believe in God. They don't think they have to be good people because of fear of God. And then there's still shitty ass people that Bible thump and they believe in God and they preach the Lord's word, and they're literally doing the most shittiest things you can think of in the dark. So I do think that you just inherently, like, you have to be, there is good people. I feel like I've met people that no matter how much life throws at them, they're still like, they've maintained and been good people, and I've never seen them like, not never say never, but also like just not seen them do anything like ill-intended,
Yeah.
And so I just think it's a mixture of both. I don't know what percentages it is of each, but I think it just is,
Yeah. No, yeah, but then it kind of begs the question too, like people who have like a seemingly perfect family and perfect home life, but then end up being like serial killers or drug addicts or whatever. Like, was there a failure in their socialization? Or were they just born to be, especially when it comes to like serial killers and child molesters and stuff like that? Like, were they born evil?
I feel like it's like
Or
that
was it a
robot.
mix,
Didn't
or-
they just have that robot? Didn't they just have that robot that beat up somebody or something? And it was just like a bad computer.
Yeah.
Like
it
they're
killed
just like it's just wired wrong. You know what I mean? And it's like that exists in humans. That's a bad computer. You like that's why I do believe that there is some sort of rehabilitation, but there's some people that like no. Like, I'm sorry. It's sad to think like, oh, so that person's just gonna be thrown away forever. Yeah, like that. Just if you knew from the beginning of like from the first whatever crime that somebody committed, what they were gonna end up doing after, if you let them out, would you leave them in there, or would you think that they were gonna change?
Oh yeah, that's like the baby Hitler, like scenario. Like,
Yeah, or like
would
finding Jesus.
Would you kill a baby if you knew that baby was going to grow up and be Hitler, even though it's only a baby at the time,
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, I definitely think that, like religion is probably one of the biggest forms of socialization. And as a parent, it's kind of the easiest way to explain empathy to a child. Like,
But at the end of the day, you feel it or you don't. Because there's actually people, I would think that it's a harder question to think when people don't have empathy because of, conditions or whatever. Like, does that make them a bad person, or is that just a condition they have?
yeah, is it like survival mode?
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. But
Yeah, no, I definitely do. And I think that, and that also kind of is a form of socialization where, like, if you live in a place where, you're like Aladdin, you're a street rat, got to steal that loaf of bread to feed yourself or whatever. yeah, it does. Like, because of the fact that you're socialized with other people probably who are living in those same circumstances, you're socialized to not feel like it's a moral wrong to steal. Whereas if you are in a more secure environment, you will be socialized to feel like it's really bad to steal.
Yeah. I mean, as someone who used to steal and not feel guilty about it, when I, like I've said that before, when I went to juvenile hall and I was really alone, I think it wasn't so much like the fear of it. Like, it wasn't bad. Like, juvenile hall, I'm not going to lie. It's, you know, we got 3 meals a day. I got to watch movies. I got popcorn. I got Kool-Aid. I was with a bunch of people. It was funny. It was kind of like camp. It kind of felt like camp to me. Plus, you know, I guess deep down inside I was a lesbian, so I guess I liked being around girls anyway. I didn't know at the time, by the way. I wasn't gay for, you know, anything. But it was just one of those things where it's like, it didn't bother me as much. I think it was the amount of time that I spent alone with my thoughts, with my guilt, with my, you know, when the detective was like, you know, what if somebody hurt your brother? Like, what if, you know what I mean? Like, they just kind of like put it in perspective or whatever for me. And then just sitting there for a month with my fucking thoughts made me, and then, you know, reading the Bible, which again, like, I'm not a very religious person per se, but I believe in God, or I believe in there being something outside of myself. And so I just read mostly Proverbs and mostly things that would like kind of be more of a lesson. And I just like kind of kept praying, and I was like, I won't do this anymore. It doesn't feel good. It never felt good. I never, like, certain things that I did, like, just, I felt like I knew better and I didn't want this life. So I fucking changed. So I guess, yeah, like, your environment can be being alone with your fucking thoughts. I guess that's technically an environment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But again, I believe that some people can change but you don't need that much. You don't need that much to be able to change. But I think some people, no matter how much you fucking do, they're just bad fucking apples. It doesn't matter how many opportunities, how much you give them, they're just fucked.
Yeah, you have to have that kernel of something there. Like, it might be buried deep down inside, but somewhere in there's something good. But yeah, maybe there are people who are just born, you know, without that something good deep down inside. Who knows, you know?
Yeah.
But I do also believe the opposite way. I know people who are very, very sweet, and, you know, when you have a conversation with them, you're like, oh my God, this is literally like one of the nicest people I met, and they're thoughtful and everything. And they have been socialized to be able to put all of that aside because of the circumstances that they're living in. And they're like, yeah, I know I'm hurting people. I know that I'm taking things from people, but at the same time, that let's like them or me, you know, sink or swim. And you can really socialize people in that way too, you know? So I definitely do think that socialization goes both ways.
Back to you, Ito. No, yeah, I mean, I agree.
With all the seriousness, I was thinking, what's your favorite cartoon, Jamie? I feel like I don't really see you as a cartoon enjoyer.
I don't watch cartoons like now,
So I was right.
as an adult, but probably my favorite cartoon I liked Scooby-Doo in all of its iterations when I was a child. Like, I really liked
all of its iterations.
Yeah, I liked regulars like Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Machine. I liked Scrappy-Doo, like a pup named Scooby-Doo is a good, you know, Saturday morning cartoon.
Scrappy-Doo.
I liked the live action Scooby-Doo movies that came out. Shout out to Sarah Michelle Gellar. Like, yeah, they were good movies. Like, he's just a genuinely cool dude, and probably the only dog that I really like.
Oh, wow.
That's so funny
No
because you
shade.
don't
No
like
shade
dogs.
to all your dogs.
Wait, so
Right,
what was your
Poncho's
favorite?
inside like,
Bitch.
right. You know what's crazy is Scooby-Doo is like one of the only cartoons I didn't ever get into.
Wow.
Not I get how most cool girls liked Scooby-Doo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was like the cool girl cartoon to like, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
was
Every
watching
bad
Roly
bitch
Poly Oly
had to be
with you.
Daphne at least one Halloween.
Yeah, that's like a hot girl thing.
Yeah. If you were not trying to be Daphne, Are you even a bad bitch? Like, let's be real.
I was watching Hey Arnold.
Oh my god, I loved Hey Arnold too.
You know, fucking
football head.
This guy.
Arthur.
Oh god.
Stoop kid. There was a kid who
Roly Polioli.
There was a kid who lived in my neighborhood in Brooklyn that was like stoop kid. Like their mom wouldn't let them leave the stoop.
No.
And I also really liked Recess.
Recess. I was Spinelli for sure.
That was a good one. I like that guy. The one guy who's like with the and the girl would like and punch him in the face.
I'm dead. Penny Proud. The Proud Family.
Proud Family. Yeah, I feel like that was a little bit when I was kind of getting out of the cartoon watching phase and starting to be a little mini hot girl.
I'm dead. I was still at home watching cartoons with my brother. I think it was because Ito and I were like so close, and I was always just very like at home. So cartoons. Even when I started to get invited to house parties, like I remember I'd be at a house party and then I'd go home and like it just felt so good to be watching cartoons and eating some food. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it just felt so safe. Whereas when I don't know how it was partying when you were like wherever you were partying, but I feel like it was always some shit. Like there's a shooting and there's cops and it's cold and sometimes you're going here or you're at a kickback and then you're trying to go to this other place and then by that time it gets rolled up and then you go somewhere else. And I was just like, man, by the time I would get home, I'm like, this is cozy. Like I should be in here.
Why did I ever leave?
Right.
Yeah. But I think also it might be the difference between being the older child and the younger child. Like I was trying to keep up with being like with Justine in more of the older age group, whereas you're like kicking, like, you know, obviously Ito's younger than you. So it's like, you know, Justine wasn't meeting me on my level. I was trying to go up to hers. Yeah.
I mean, I was still like going out. He's the one that would let me in the house. Like, right. Yeah. I would knock on the window like 3 a.m. and he would let me in and I'm just like, what's up? But, you know, I was still doing my little shit. Okay, I just remember feeling, I always felt like I just wanted to be home safe. I don't know. 'Cause again, I just felt like it was just so much stress to be perceived and you're out there and you're just like trying to be cool and drinking and whatever. And everybody was just annoying.
Yeah. And I don't know. I wasn't really like a big drinker when I was a young partier. I was a big pothead. Like, and so, I mean, I definitely got myself into my own, you know, situations, but I feel like most of the time we were just like, I don't know, all trying to piece up on an 8th and going to smoke in an alley and the guys would be playing on their skateboards. Or, I mean, and then more kind of the where I would run into a little bit more, you know, probably, you know, situations I wouldn't put myself into as an adult was like if I was broke and then I'd be like, oh, I'll just meet up with this guy because he'll smoke me out. And that's probably not the...
No, I'm talking about house parties. Like, you know, the ones where they were charged like $5 for dudes and then like nothing for girls.
Yeah. And yeah, no, I wasn't a big, I mean, a little bit, but I wasn't a huge house partier. I was more of a pothead.
They were cool. Like the memories are cool to think of now. It's like there was a few that were like pretty cool, but there was also just like when there was drama, it was like, fuck, I could be at home right now. Why?
Yeah. The few house parties that I went to, like these 2 girls tried to jump me, and then I rolled up on the girl in front of Famart and fucking whooped her ass.
I'm dead, not Famart. I'm dead.
And then like the other one, like literally you're there for 3 minutes and then the cops end up raiding it. Like it, yeah. I just never like I don't know. They weren't that fun. Like.
I feel like in San Ysidro, I feel like whenever we go to like San Ysidro, Chula Vista, National City, like all those places had the like cool shit. Mira Mesa had some pretty, I was on the tail end of Mira Mesa still having dope ass parties. And then they started all just being fucking dead or whatever. But there was mad little rich kids that they just had mad, like.
Maybe it's because y'all had access to houses and we were in apartments.
That maybe.
In fucking City Heights, right?
Yeah, because in Mira Mesa, like people was having fat ass house parties. I'm talking about, I remember that's the first time I ever realized that Greek girls could have a big ass. Like that's back then, like before there was this one girl, I mean, I almost said her name, but everybody was always inviting her. And then she was always inviting my friend. And then like, they had fat ass houses. Like the Armenians had fat ass houses. Like I'm just going, I remember seeing my first pool that I saw with waves. I was like, what the fuck is that?
This is a thing.
Dude, I was at their houses just like This is how people fucking live.
Yeah.
I don't even know how they were cleaning up their houses after the parties because people were disrespectful.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. The few little like party crew parties that I went to, they were always in apartments where it's like the person moved out of the apartment but like they hadn't cut off the electricity yet, and then we would just
I'm dead.
and then you're like wondering like, oh, I wonder why the cops are here in 5 minutes, because you brought in a full DJ set to an apartment that someone moved out of 3 days ago. Like, yeah.
That's the thing too. Now that I think about it, we're like 15. Well, I'm like 14 at the time, and like my friends are like 15, 16, 17, and their parents are letting them. They got the whole house and the backyard. They got kegs, they got bottles, they got fucking DJ system. You just reminded me, a whole ass DJ system. So this took time to set up. Where the fuck were the parents?
On a business trip.
And they're straight up charging.
Yeah.
That shit was crazy.
And
Who's buying
the liquor?
We threw one at Jill's house for my 15th birthday. I remember. We told her mom it was just gonna be a little get together or whatever. So her mom was so nice. She bought pizzas, but we knew what was about to happen, man. She bought mad pizzas. Next thing you know, that shit just started getting, and we started charging. That shit got packed, her whole backyard.
Yeah, started getting wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think I wasn't really with that crew like that. More, north, near like
Yeah.
San Diego crew. But then when I did turn 16 and 17, when my sister, she started going to college at San Francisco State.
Oh.
And her roommate was my height, and she gave me her ID because she got a driver's license, and then I started using her ID to go to TJ. Now that is when I started drinking. My friend, Mysteries.
Mysteries was insane.
Ooh, those were some good nights.
I'm dead. Mysteries is where I met Drew's dad.
Ooh.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, that $15. You would pay like
$15 drink all night.
Yep, and you would drink all night. Them adioses, baby, and they would just scoop that adios out of a big barrel, girl. What was we even drinking?
The floor was this much alcohol on the floor. You knew not to wear good shoes because
you had TJ shoes.
Yeah, you had TJ shoes. Your shoes are all fucked off. Like, don't even look down at people's shoes because they're not wearing.
Yeah, it's not shoes. Even. And you would just be.
And you wouldn't even have
with it and rocking
bitch,
with it.
I wouldn't even have an ID because I spoke Spanish, so I'll just be like, I was like, and then I'd cross the border with no ID. I didn't even know my fucking friend, my best friend was undocumented until like this bitch. We've gone to TJ back and forth so much. We got in a high speed chase in TJ, and this bitch. It wasn't until one day she starts dating her ex again, and her mom comes from Mexico and goes, "You're going with me," and she's like, "I'm never gonna see you again." I was like, "Why?" She's like, "Because they're gonna take me to Mexico and I don't have papers." I was like, what?
You don't have papers?
I was like,
dude, TJ was just like San Diego Junior, dude. Like,
it was crazy.
I remember going into TJ with all of my friends, and one of the guys, like, black dude, obviously, and he lost his ID, and they were just like, "What hospital were you born in?" And just looked at him and was like, "This is a nigga. Go ahead. You ain't one of them."
I'm dead. Mm-hmm. Yeah, back in the day, it was definitely.
Yeah, no, literally just an ID. You didn't need a birth certificate. You didn't need a passport.
But that 3 a.m. wait, like when you're waiting to cross, that shit was kind of shitty though.
Nah, not if you got some churros, dude, and you're just fucking drunk and sitting up there eating a churro.
Well, you're still happy. I'm tired. You know how I get. I fucking once I'm tired, I'm going to sleep. I'll be like,
please, and not even 3 a.m. It would be like 6 a.m. I remember.
Yeah, the sun's coming out.
Yeah, when Justine came back and she got a job at this hotel at Comfort Inn, and she literally would the Comf, dude, and she would literally work at 6, and we would go to TJ, leave at like 4:30, go to just drive straight to the Comf and change into her uniform in the freaking parking lot and go in there and work 6 to 2:30. Like, fuck no. To be young, bro, I could never do that now.
Insane. Well, that was Drew too. He'd fucking drink all night or whatever, and then go to work at like 4 a.m. at the Navy shipyards. I'll be like,
I'm going to bed. Bye.
Good night.
Yeah.
I'll be asleep.
Those churros, fam.
Yeah. And Animal. Oh, Animal was a whole different, no pun intended, animal. And then they opened up another club, and then like, I don't know, they paid off all the taxis. So like you would tell the taxi to go drop you off at Mysteries or Animal, and they would drop you off at the fucking Coco Bongo or whatever the fuck.
Coco Bongo.
I'm
and
dead.
That's honestly the best thing about, was it Animal or Coco Bongo? They had the male go-go dancers and the female go-go dancers.
That's a crazy marketing tactic.
That's insane. You're like
Kidnap
technically
everyone.
kidnapped. Yes. I remember being there and I had heard the stories and I was like, nah. So I get in and I was like, oh no, like I'm going here. And they're like, oh, okay, over here. And I'm like,
No.
but it was still no, it wasn't on Revolution.
No,
it was
and
Animal
that was
and
the
Mysteries.
thing. Yeah, that was
The
on
other ones
Revolution.
was-
The other one was Far. But then that was the thing too, is that then even if you did get someone to drive you to Mysteries, no one was there anymore because everyone's at Coco Bongo. So then we're just like, fuck it, we're all going to Coco Bongo.
Yeah, they really like.
It worked.
Hella
Yeah.
worked.
That's like in Grand Theft Auto. You could do that. You could be a taxi person, and then you get more money if you take somebody and drop them off at some cult place in like a mountain.
I'm
It's the
dead.
same thing.
Yeah, they really strong armed everybody to just go there, and then nowadays everybody just goes to like what fucking Hong Kong or something.
I don't know, dude.
It's a literal prostitute place.
I haven't partied in TJ since I was like once I turned 21. It's like,
Yeah,
what's the point?
You're
You
like, for
know?
what?
Yeah.
Wait,
It
but
was
how are
wild
they-
over there though.
How are they making money? $15?
Who knows what we were
It's
drinking,
Mexico.
friend?
Yeah,
Who knows what we
Oh,
were
it's just the
drinking?
cheapest, and they were just hoping you wouldn't drink $15 worth of the cheapest stuff.
it was
Like,
just
no,
fucking you up right away. Like you weren't even.
And literally, they had 3 types of drinks that you could get. It was like the Adios, I think like a Mai Tai or something, or no, like a Tequila Sunrise kind of vibe, and something else. That's all you get. There's
they had
no
beer because I would drink beer.
Yeah, but there's no like pick your own. There's no mix master back there.
Yeah.
And all the drinks were literally in those giant tub things, like the ones that people would send back to the Caribbean full of stuff. But it was just, and they would just have a big ladle, and they were just.
Yeah,
So who knows what we were drinking? We could have been drinking
and I don't
rat
think,
poison.
and I
Like,
don't think it was $15 for the guys.
yeah,
I feel
no,
like
it
it
probably
was the
was a
girls.
little more.
I feel like it was a lot for the guys. That's why, and it was fucking packed, and it was 3 floors.
Yeah. Oh my God, we would get so hyphy, dude. Like we were yupping in our white tees, friend. Like, oh my God,
Yeah.
what a time to be alive.
Yeah,
What a time.
it was definitely crazy.
Getting hyphy in TJ. Baby.
Surviving, being alive.
Yeah.
The things we've done. That's why I'm like, sometimes like I'll look at Baby Jordan. I'm like, there's no way that he's 13 the way I was 13.
Yeah.
I'm like,
This ain't the same.
this ain't the same. That's a baby. That's a baby. And thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God that that's a baby, and that, you know what I mean? Because nah.
Yeah. No, I think about it often. Like I was underage, drunk, crossing a federal border with a fake ID.
Yeah.
And did it every week.
And we all did. I feel like the
it wasn't
entire
even-
San Diego
Made
would-
its way. One
and then
way
would
or-
go
yep.
back.
What is that called? When,
It was an exodus.
yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Or like what the butterflies do.
Yeah.
Migration. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
seriously.
and that's just how it was. Like I remember, you remember Ronnie?
Yes.
I remember she was literally going 120. We were trying to hurry up and make it to the border, and she got pulled over, and like, y'all, shouts to Ronnie, dude. She was literally like tall, beautiful, like just, very well spoken, like
Yeah.
everything that, you would think of when you, like, I don't know. She reminded me of Tyra Banks in that one movie where she was like the life-size Barbie doll.
Mm-hmm.
That's like
She
the
was.
best way. Like if you Google that picture, that's how Ronnie looked. And she literally was just like flirting with the cop and was like, I'm wearing these big heels that I've never worn before. And I just didn't even realize how fast I was going. And they just let her go. I was like, a bitch like me could never.
I'm dead.
They'd have been like, bitch, we're towing your car and writing your ticket.
Right. She was fucking funny. Yeah,
Doesn't
that is
that
Ronnie.
look like Ronnie, right?
That's Ronnie. And
And who was the girl?
That's me.
that's Jamie in the back of the car. She's like, yeah, sorry, officer.
I'm like,
But what's it called? Yeah. But when I was going to school closer to the border, I remember just ditching and going and taking the fucking train and going over there, and we ate tacos and we went to a strip club. I was underage and we're just at a strip club because that's the only place that would give us beer in the daytime. It was the middle of the day. And yeah, it was just,
Yeah.
living life.
And it was fun, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, obviously, like I said, I haven't been like to TJ just to like chill in a while. I still used to go down there for medical care because it's hard in America, guys. Okay, don't judge. um, but like I remember. I mean, but we used to also go like for family days. I would go down with my mom. We would go and like buy jewelry and go and have like food, take the pictures on the little donkey things. Y'all know what I'm talking about?
The
Yeah.
zebras.
That's funny.
Yeah, the donkey
zebras.
zebra thing. Yeah. It used to be really fun, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe just proximity. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't
No,
been.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's still fun, and Mexico, I don't know. Obviously things have changed or whatever, but for me, like I was saying about baby Drew 13, like since I was 9, I was taking an international fucking flight by myself. So by the time I was 13, I thought I was an adult. So 13, I'm in a club in Zacatecas. You know what I mean? And over there, it wasn't $15. It was 15 pesos. So it was just like, what the fuck was I doing at that age? Just like
Vibing.
beer in hand with a Modelo in my hand, dancing. Makes a lot of sense now why my uncle slapped me in the middle of the fucking club. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, definitely. Like, my kids are scared to take out the trash by themselves. Like,
Right.
Oh yeah, Drew can't even walk around in the dark.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I get mad when he wants to watch little scary movies, because I'm like, you have a hard time walking around here. Like,
Yeah.
don't put no more ideas in your head.
Don't scare yourself. Yeah, totally. It is. It's just a very, I don't know, like it's a very different thing. And sometimes like even now it's kind of been something at the forefront of my mind with Layla. Like next year she's going into middle school, and obviously, the middle school transition, you're going to have a different schedules and different classes that you have to go to. And I don't know, it's just kind of made me think, like, have I over sheltered her? Like, is she going to be ready to have that much responsibility? Because
I think that too.
I've kept her
No,
in a bubble. She doesn't like where I can't send my daughter to walk to the store by herself. Like, no, she's my little baby. I couldn't.
But
do
who
it.
knows? I mean, we're still there. We're still in the,
In the thick of it.
yeah, we're still in the thick of it. Like we still can teach and grow. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out, man. I think, but that's the magic about growing up and, being adults now and grown, people, parents, that we thought our parents had it figured out. And now when we look at them and look at our kids, we're like, oh shit, you were going through what I'm just going through right now in my brain, in your brain.
Yeah.
Oh, makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah.
In
a way, but I don't know. It's just crazy because it's like some things I definitely identify with, and then other things I'm like, Mom, what were you thinking?
Right.
Like, girl.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, we're all, and we're also different people. So we parent different. I parent completely different than my mom. I feel, I and a lot of the way that I parent is a direct reaction to how my mom parented. You know what I mean? Like she wasn't very affectionate, and I do feel like I'm constantly, like grabbing him or touching his hair or like hugging him or something, or just confirming, you know what I mean, that like, yeah, we good, type shit. And like with my mom, she wasn't very much like that. But I don't know, everybody goes through their fucking shit. And now when I hear my mom talk, sometimes like we'll talk about her parenting with me, it always goes back to her dad. Like she's always talking about my grandpa. So I'm like, you have a thing you gotta fix. Like and you know what I mean? And I tell her, I'm like, he's already really old. So I don't know what you gotta do, but like, you probably gotta fix that, because it seems like that is where everything fucking comes from.
Yeah.
It's your dad.
No, 100%. Like there are some things that I see my mom, and I kind of do. I also see where it's like my mom overcorrected from how my grandma was with us. And I'm like, I wish, especially when it comes to things like my grandma was very, very, very much about like keeping up appearances and, how women should be. And like, she was very like weight conscious and image conscious. And my mom like super kind of like overcorrected with me and Justine. We're being like, doesn't matter what you look like what, blah, blah, blah. but it does, you know what I mean? And I do feel like it kind of left us a little bit like we had to find out the hard way that you are being judged by how you look and how you carry yourself and how you act. Like, it's not just this free for all where everyone, it doesn't matter where you look like you can just prove yourself and everyone's going to treat you the same. That's not the way the world works. But I think that was an overcorrect from how my grandma was with her, where she was like, the most important thing is how you look and, you know, getting married and, you know, staying thin and this and that and that, which my grandma, like, I remember so vividly my grandma telling me, like, literally with tears in her eyes, how traumatic it was for her to have to shop in the Missy section, which was like plus size version of kids clothes. So it's like all of this trauma, like you can see how it just like kind of has snaked down throughout the generations of women in our family, where it's like the ping pong ball going one way or the other.
Right.
And I just hope that, like, with Layla, that I'm not giving her any body issues, but you really just don't know. Like, all you can do is the best that you can. Like, yeah. I hope that I'm not. Like, I don't want to, I want her to take care of herself. I want her to know that, you know, her image is important, but it's definitely not the most important.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, and then there's certain things, you know, you can tell your kid until you're blue in the face, but sometimes the kids just gotta figure it out themselves, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We can't do too much, especially with having boys and shit. Like, well, with me, with
me
him,
too.
like, I feel like, well, I know, but he's like younger, so it's like, I feel like you still kind of are in that safe, cozy zone.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now with this guy getting into 13, I'm like, this is getting scary. And I don't want to, you know, I don't want to fuck up. And it takes, you know, it takes a lot of co-parenting and stuff. And that's, again, where some of the fucking crisis and staying up at night or waking up in the, you know, early morning, like, am I doing a good job? What the fuck? Like, what, you know, is there things that I'm overcorrecting that maybe now I'm fucking up on the other side? Like, what the fuck is going to happen, you know? But I don't know, friend. Like, we're trying our best. We're grown as fuck. I'm going to take a shot with you. I know we've been potting for a bit, and now I got to go potty. Like, I got to pee. Holy shit. Hold on. Is that a shot?
Damn, Big Daddy.
No, right? That's, I'm dead. This is, well, I'll take half of it.
Okay.
And somebody else will take half of it.
Cheers.
Ready? Cheers to doing our best.
Yeah.
No, we got to have a better one than that. Not just doing our best. What are we doing?
Are we ending? Are we?
The best. No, I think after the shot. No.
Oh, I thought this was the end.
Oh, you want to end it?
No, I was
like
asking
this?
you.
I don't know. Yeah.
Input.
Fucking, we keep trying. All right. To doing our best, which is the best, because that's the best we can do.
Cheers.
Where'd you get that audio?
I don't know.
Had a little tail end on it.
Audience applauding.
We went from existential crisis. We went from existential crisis to our teenage years to more fucking we kept on going from kids to us to childhood to our parents to kids to childhood to our parents. That is the loop.
Well, yeah,
that's
literally.
the fucking loop. Is just constantly thinking why. Ito, do you ever have an existential crisis?
Well, I was gonna say, well, don't forget who y'all went from first, though. Don't forget where we started.
So now we know. Worst comes to worst, if the kids get out of line, we know who to give our dollars to.
Yeah, Dawn.
Miss King.
But yeah, Ito, what do you think?
What do I think about existential crisis?
Or have you ever had one?
No. What is it? You're like having a crisis because
in your mind, do you think you're still a kid?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even. What is a kid?
That's what I'm saying. Like, do you ever be like, I'm a grown man? Or like, do you still kind of feel like inside? Are you still like, do you still feel like, I'm just saying, because there's like I still inside when my anxiety kicks in, like when my social anxiety kicks in, I don't feel like a grown adult.
Mm-hmm.
I feel my social anxiety is because I feel like I'm being perceived as an awkward, like I feel the same feelings that I felt when I was like 15, uncomfortable. So it's like, I guess that's what I can fucking work on, because I'm not being perceived like that. Like when I go to baby Drew's school to talk to the principal, I feel like I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
But I'm a fucking adult.
Yes.
Like you should put some respect on my fucking name.
But at the same time, you're like, don't, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
And then, yeah, no, 100%. And I think also like with, I feel kind of the same way, but a little bit different. Like I feel like I'm being perceived by the world as an adult, but I have imposter syndrome because I'm just a little baby girl. I don't know nothing.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think I'm being perceived as a 15-year-old. I know these motherfuckers see me as a grown ass.
Yeah, like when I'm talking to, like if I go into the bank or whatever and the person is talking to me like I'm on the same level as them, even though I am, I feel like,
yeah,
like where's my mom? My mom should be doing this for me. I remember the first time when it really hit me that I was an adult wasn't even when I was pregnant or when I had Layla. It's when I had to make her first appointment and I was talking to my mom on the phone and I'm like, yeah, like I need to make this appointment for blah, blah, blah. And, or like this appointment has to be made for blah, blah. And she's like, yeah, we'll make it. And I'm like, who? Me? I'm supposed to make the appointment? And she's like, yeah, you're the parent. You know, when especially when you have a newborn baby and they're like, well, it's up to the parents. Like, it's up to the parents if you're going to circumcise. It's up to the parents if you're going to do this and that. And I'm like, who's the fucking parents? Someone, parents, come make this decision, because it can't be me. Like, I can't be the one who has to make this decision that's going to affect the rest of this child's life. Like,
yeah. Well, that's how I feel. But I'm just thinking, like, since Ito doesn't, like, that how you feel?
Yeah. Do you have to wait till you have kids to not feel like a kid?
To not feel like a kid? No, I don't know. I always feel like, the same as I've been. I'm never like, grown. That's just weird because
I don't know. But I also feel like you were a serious kid from like the little bit that I remember you of.
He
like,
wasn't.
At least
he was
like
silly.
Well, maybe he just didn't play when it came to you then, friend, because I just remember like from meeting him as a teenager, he was very serious. Like he was just very much like, who are you guys and why are you hanging out with my sister, and make sure you're not getting her in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, he does have that energy. I feel like he's just protective, definitely. But when he was a little boy, I have always wondered when that changed, because when we watch your videos when you were little, you were very outgoing, and then at some point you just weren't.
Oh yeah, I know. I don't know why that happened. One of my friends told me that too in school, that he knew me when I was like I guess it was just 1 year apart, when I was a freshman and then when I was a sophomore.
So that's when it happened.
And he told me, maybe it was then, because I don't know if I knew him in middle school. But yeah, he basically, I don't know, it was weird. I was like, but I didn't know. It's not like one day I was just serious. But
yeah. Do you think it's because you moved so much that, like, in that time? Because you were in Salt Lake City, you were in San Diego, then you were in Texas?
It was before I moved.
Oh.
It was in San Diego when he told me that.
Do you consider yourself an introvert?
Wait, isn't that when Papi?
Yeah, that's the thing I'm kind of thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Because it sounds like the guy was
I'm not
telling
gonna be
you.
loud and outgoing. I guess it could. Things could just mess with your...
And that's what I've always wondered. Like you know how like you don't think that you got that affected, but if you think about it, you were very outgoing, and then out of nowhere, you weren't. So even though you're not that it's a therapy session, but even though you've never really like, it's like it had to have done something because your entire personality changed.
I guess, but...
But it could also
signing
be
you up for
aging.
therapy.
I mean...
No, it was just very one day to
abrupt.
another, and it's exactly when something happened.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like...
Yeah.
But, you know, that could be... I mean, that's cool too, though, because, I mean, I do also feel like you've been opening up more, like, as of lately. And, you know, therapy's always there. So you never know. You might become super, like, you know...
Extrovert Ito.
Yeah. Like, what's up, guys? How you guys doing? Yeah, let's listen to fucking Kanye. You know? That's cool.
Kanye?
I don't know. Whatever the fuck he wants to listen to.
Kid Cudi.
Kid Cudi.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I was down there playing Queen, and you're like, can we change this?
Just... Wait, weren't you playing Elvis? That was Queen?
That was Queen. But yeah, it does sound like Elvis.
Yeah, I was like, I thought it was Elvis.
Yeah, it sounded like Elvis, but I don't know. I don't know who did it first.
It gave me Christmas vibes.
That too. That's great.
I know, but we
Elvis,
just
Queen,
came out
Christmas vibes.
We just came out of Christmas vibes. I'm trying to, thaw out the Christmas vibes right now. I'm trying to start feeling a little positive towards
Heading towards spring.
some sort of.
Get it closing out this first. Okay.
It was originally a Queen song, but Elvis did cover it, I guess.
Wait. No, it had to be the opposite way.
Yeah, how did Queen go before Elvis? Elvis was.
Oh yeah.
I don't know when Elvis died, so let me not even shut up. Let me not even say it had to be the opposite way. Could have very well been that way.
Oh, it says Elvis never sang Crazy Little Thing Called Love.
Ah, misinformation. What the fuck is going on with the internet?
Yeah, Freddie Mercury adored Elvis, however, and he basically wrote it as a tribute to Elvis, that song.
Fully thought that was an Elvis song. Fully. But I don't know. It's weird. Like, there are certain names of people who it's like you associate with a different actual era than what they are. Like Andy Warhol. I think he died in like the 80s or the 90s. And I don't know why I feel like he was like such a historical figure. Same thing with Einstein. Like, he's not, I think Einstein, Anne Frank, and Barbara Walters were all like born in the same year, but for some reason those don't feel like they fit on the same timeline.
Who?
Anne Frank, Elvis.
No, Anne Frank,
Oh.
Einstein, and Barbara Walters.
Oh.
Like, doesn't Einstein feel like he belongs
Anne
back
Frank,
with like
Elvis, and Barbara Walters?
Yeah, right. Like, they don't feel like they are in the same timeline. Like, Einstein to me feels like it's back with like Socrates or something, but it's not. Like, he's not.
He was born when Barbara Walters was born?
Oh, she died?
I didn't even know that. R.I.P. Baba.
Yeah, December 30th, 2022.
Damn. Rip. But yeah.
Wait, what does Barbara Walters look like?
She's the one that interviews.
Let me see. She died?
Yeah. And the same thing, like they were saying, like Betty White is older than sliced bread, or was.
That's what I was thinking. She's dead?
Yeah, dude, right? R.I.P., bro. I feel like I just saw her on the news like 2 days ago.
Yeah, I feel like she just said some racist shit like... No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. No, I don't know. Maybe she just looks like all the type of ladies that... But I know her face. I hear her voice right now. Just seeing her her picture, I hear her voice.
Famous interview, I think, was with she did one with Britney Spears. I feel like she has another really famous one with like Whitney.
Yeah,
she was, like,
that's probably
that
what
girl.
it is.
Yeah, she was that lady.
Oh, okay. They weren't born on the same time.
And I thought it was the same year or something.
No. He was born in 1879.
Who?
Albert Einstein.
And then
she was born in 1879 as well.
Can you imagine?
She's 179 years old.
Maybe it was someone. I don't. It could. It probably was someone, or maybe it was. Was it Martin Luther King, Betty White? I don't know, but it was like I don't know. They just
she
don't.
Was
feel.
alive during. Well,
like
she's
they
been alive for a long time. She was alive for almost 100 years, but
yeah.
She was born in 1929. And Einstein died in 1955. So
that's what she's saying, right? Not that they were born, but like that they
were
in
the same. I thought they were. Yeah, like they're in. No, but I did. No, I did misspeak because that said that they were born the same year. But maybe. Oh. But it was someone else.
They were around the same.
Yeah, but they all interact with the same timeline,
which is weird because you would imagine.
No, that's right about Anne Frank and Barbara Walters. 1929, both of them.
Right. So you would think like. Someone who died in 2022, you would not think was old enough to have experienced or like to have lived through the Holocaust. But they, even though she wasn't in the Holocaust, like she was on that same timeline.
Yeah.
Like the same person who interviewed Britney Spears was alive when Hitler was in power. Like that's wild, right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid.
It
is
just
kind of
crazy.
Throwing Albert Einstein in there is kind of random.
Yeah, it's someone else.
These two were born in the same year. This guy was also alive during.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I don't know who it was though.
No, it is though.
Because it is like a grouping of three people that you don't feel like what I had read about it was like you're like, yeah, these were people were born in the same year, or like Betty White being older than sliced bread.
You're fucking lying.
Yeah.
What?
Betty White is older than sliced bread. Well, was.
Yeah.
Betty White, our chicken, is still alive. Isn't she? Isn't she the only one that's...
No.
We have a white chicken.
We have a white chicken, but she's not one of the original.
Oh, she's not
3.
Betty White.
Betty White 2. Betty White Dose.
Yeah, the only one that's alive from the original ones that we got is the red one.
Henrietta?
That keeps her back.
You know she's named after Henrietta Hudson?
Oh, shouts to her. But yeah, Betty White was born in...
Oh, Martin Luther King was
Why?
born on
That was who it was.
She's very New York, that lady. She's alive.
Betty White?
She made it. No, Henrietta Hudson.
Yeah, that's why I said shouts to her, dude. Sliced bread was invented 1928. Betty White was born 1922.
This house was born 19... What?
So I don't know. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Sometimes when you think about like history and how far we have, like how much things have changed in such a short period of time, but then at the same time, it's like really just a blip because history is as long as it is.
I'm dead. Just me getting pissed off at... Oh, no, it was born 1931.
So a little like...
It was born... My house was born 1931. No, but I was just seeing this because I remember you said something like this, but is that when you buy it, it is allowed to go up that much?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's why. So every other year was capped.
Except for this. They're like, yeah, fuck you, bitch.
So that's probably when it transferred.
That makes sense.
Fuck.
That the Ollie was invented by a guy whose nickname was Ollie.
Nice.
But his name was not Oliver, it was Alan.
Then why'd they call him Ollie?
I don't know.
Interesting. Let's have him on the pod. Figure it out.
Me just staring at my house. I'm like,
no, you're all
this is what it looks
interested.
like.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know.
Dirty.
There's some...
But yeah, I think I'm excited for everything that's coming up. Everything, including obviously starting with all this stuff that we got going on in the ranch, the fucking the new warehouse, which I'm excited for because Ito, Yayo, me, we've all always wanted a more central place where we can work and everybody just kind of feels like, hey, this is where we're all meeting up at. And right, we've always struggled to find that place. Because when we first started, we used to work out of my garage. So all of us was there. Yayo was there. Ito was there. I was there. Mario was there. Like, there was no way to escape. Like, this is where we work from. But ever since, like, he goes to his room. He goes to his, like, everything. Or here at the ranch, he goes to his house. He goes to his room. Like, we need a place to just, you know what I mean? Even when you come over, you could just be like, this is where everybody's at. I'm going to be right there.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for there to be this, like, central place that we're all at. And just tour. We got to name the tour. We got to figure out, all the cities, all the routing. We got new merch. We got to keep going with the podcast. Great fucking guests. Keep on building it out. Like I love the live version of it. I also like the thought of being able to pre-record some stuff so that we can do more getting out there. New music, new fucking projects.
Aiming for better. Like just fucking... Everything that we've been doing, I think is great, and I'm excited for the new year. That's what's keeping me motivated right now is that we got a brand new year to just knock
go.
Stuff out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we already have obviously there's going to be a lot more stuff that's fit into the year, but the stuff that is like hard on the schedule is all pretty cool.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah. I'm excited to keep this shit going. We love you guys. Thank you so much for watching us, for taking the time, for supporting us, for loving us. Please support the merch store. Check out the new music. More new music to come. More vlogs to come. Yeah. We appreciate you guys. Jamie, we love you.
We love you.
Ito, we love you. We out.
Esa niña no se aguanta. Quiere todo porque el pussy sabe a Fanta. Si la dejas por pendejo se te casa. Dale todo, dos de lengua y una horchata. Si te alcanza, I'm the shit, huh? Are you catching what I'm throwing for a pickup? Same bitch I always was, now I'm just richer. I'm about to shake it up and check the Richter. This a sticker.